So away we went then into a series of dramatic races with ample evidence of the risks these motocross riders take, and evidence too of how if your luck runs out, it doesn't matter even if you're a world champion. Race 1 then, and almost immediately a tussle between Dave Thorpe and Kurt Nickel, with Rob Herring, number 14 from Northampton, getting involved in a tremendous tussle with the top two.
Side by side, Nickel makes the move, but Thorpe holds him off. But Nickel knows he's got to do something. And look at Herring using the berm to full advantage. And Thorpe is back in third place. Dave Thorpe, the reigning 500cc world champion, has been pushed to third. It's Kurt Nickel who leads. Behind him is Rob Herring. And right at the back of this trio, would you believe it, is Dave Thorpe.
And here we've got Kurt Nickel, Dave's boy, leading the field here from Rob Herring. Kurt, of course,
Rob Herring going for the inside line, and Herring has gone through. Rob Herring goes through to take the lead. Kurt Nickel pushed back into second place. Well, a brave move by Herring. He's certainly not afraid to have a go, and Nickel's coming back. And Herring closes the door, just one line of that particular section. Look, Nickel on the inside, jumps, and they actually swap lines there. Herring goes for the inside line. Nickel about to swoop into the corner, but he can't because Herring is there already.
But in the end, Herring on a 250cc Yamaha made a bit of a mistake, and it left the stage clear for Thorpe and Nickel to fight out the finish between them.
There they go, 1 lap to go, I suspect was the signal. And there's Thorpe on the inside, and there's the move. And Kurt Nickel now knows he's got 1 lap to pull it all back. Sorry, 2 laps to pull it back. Is it 2 laps to go? We shall have to wait and see. 2 laps to go. There's the board. They see Nickel leads over the jump, and Thorpe goes for the inside line, charges down the hill. It's smoother on that inside, and of course once you're on the inside and you put your front wheel ahead, there's not a lot the other man can do about it. They come out of the top, turn the hill, and Thorpe is leading. Nickel there again with him through this tricky, nasty, winding little spot where Nickel had the problem last time, but it looks as though Thorpe is going to hang on. Round the earth banking, the wall of death. Nickel chasing, trying to pull that margin, but he's trying to beat a world champion, and that is very, very difficult to do. And the checkered flag goes out, and Thorpe has done it. Dave Thorpe, the winner.
Race 2 now. And a confused start as they roared into that very dangerous first bend, and quickly some debris of drivers left behind. But as the pattern settled in the dust, the big question was, where was world champion Dave Thorpe?
Where is Thorpe and where is Kurt Nickel? Number 6 is Rob Andrews. Number 3, Mervyn Anstey, both using different routes into this hairpin turn. And 3 riders side by side, and Jem Watley on the 250 Suzuki was on the inside and looking to make up ground. Numbers 1 and 2 are the numbers you're looking for out there. Well, presumably they went through in that dust and chaos and confusion down there. There's been a real pile-up, and there must be Thorpe in that. And there's that number 1 on the side of his helmet, the first aid men there, very quickly indeed. And that looks like a broken collarbone, I would suspect. That was Mark Banks, I think, walking away.
So race 2 continued without Dave Thorpe, without Mark Banks, and it turned out to be the open door, not for Kurt Nickel, who finished 6th, but for Jem Watley, Suzuki's number 1 rider, as he picked up the 20 points for the first place winner. So even in this situation, Dave Thorpe was very quick off the mark. Within 10 minutes, he was in touch with his doctor on the car telephone that he's got, and even while the British Championship was continuing, and just before he left the circuit, he was able to tell us what happened in that incident.
I'm not sure really. I just caught a hole wrong, and unfortunately I went over the handlebars.
And Mark Banks was just behind you and went over the top of you. Obviously a very painful and damaged shoulder. Have you any idea what it is?
No, I'm just trying to contact my doctor now, and I'm going to go straight home to see him, but I fear for my shoulder, the joint in my shoulder.
Have you ever done anything like this before? Have you experienced that?
Oh yeah, many times. I broke this shoulder once before.
No points obviously then for Dave Thorpe. 18-year-old Rob Herring proving his point once again with a 2nd place.
35 riders started the first race, but injuries and mechanical problems have eliminated a fair few. But it's a pack that roars down the hill, and the man we're trying to keep our eye on is Kurt Nickel, who can take the lead in the British Championship if he can finish in the first two in this race, and that looks like Nicol in the lead. It's certainly a Kawasaki, and chaos and confusion at the bottom of that hill. These starts have caused more than their fair share. It is Kurt Nicol who leads. Kurt says that it was the dust and the bad start that made problems for him in the second race, and if he can win this one and notch up 20 points, then he'll take the championship lead. Nicol then on the Kawasaki, out in front, the rest of the pack streamed out behind. Down the hill comes Nicol, and behind him the rest of the field storming through. Nicol making a good start. Stuart Coyle was in second place, but not for long because he lost out there to Greg Hansen on the other Kawasaki. Over the jumps they come. Number 2 is Nicol. Number 4, Greg Hansen. Number 5, Jem Watley. Number 16, Coyle. Number 8 is Andy Nichols. And Watley getting closer and closer. Jem Watley is making a charge. It's Kurt Nicol who leads. He needs to win this one to take a 4-point lead in the British Championship. Dave Thorpe out of action, and Jem Watley wants to spoil his party.
And history tells us all Watley's past successes have been on 250 machines. He's chasing this present race leader, Kurt Nicol, on the Heron 250 at this time, chasing a man with a 500cc engine, leading the field. There seems to be no or very little handicap for Watley to have a machine at just half that cubic capacity.
Nicol, Jem Watley first and second, Greg Hansen losing a little bit of ground now. He was right with them, but this scrap between Kurt Nicol and Watley is getting so fierce that Hansen being dropped back, and certainly Kurt Nicol is quickening his pace. Watley flying through there in pursuit, but I think Kurt Nichol's probably pulled back 2 or 3 machines length. Now, where is the man Herring? Here he is in the middle. He's going to go through the middle of those two. What a brave man he is. He doesn't know when he's beaten this Rob Herring. What a charger the teenager is. His father, well, he knows how to make motorcycles go quickly. He's tuned motorcycles for lots of famous road racers, and his boy knows all about making motocross machines go quickly. And he's bouncing off riders all over the track. He's in a hurry to get through, and he doesn't care when and how he passes them. Look at Herring now. If he sees a gap, he'll go for it. Herring chasing, looking for the inside line. Has to ease off. It's one track only down this Nadgery bit here. Right, Herring winds on the wick again. Off in pursuit. Herring then looking to find a way gap, and you see him just launch himself into space. And he's through it. Rob Herring is through. He's past that group. And look at him now accelerate and pull away from the people he's left behind. He's after the superstars out in front. The gap has narrowed, and Jem Watley looks at the inside line, thought about going, but Kurt Nicol was in his way. But Watley's beginning to make a move, and look at Watley leaping high. He'll be on the inside line, and Watley is through. He's got the better line, and he goes too wide, and Nicol charges through, cuts him on the inside, and they're side by side again, and Watley has the advantage. Jem Watley with a fine piece of overtaking, a good motocross brain, and he caught out Kurt Nicol. It was like a little bit of chess out there. Motocross war games. And we can see it all again. See how they were thinking. Nicol on the outside of the track. Watley going high. He deliberately went for the speed. Now he leads side by side, but he's on the line. He's where Kurt Nicol wants to go. He's going too quick, so he goes wide. Nicol thinks I'll blast through on the inside and beat into the next corner, but he doesn't. Watley is there, and Watley hangs on. And here comes Rob Herring in 7th place, but he can see, he can smell those riders ahead of him. I think Rob Herring's the sort of lad you feed, you throw raw meat to, and open the cage and let him out for each motocross meeting. And there he is, and the Greg Hansen is in trouble. He's dropped back 2 laps to go. The board has gone out. So Rob Herring has got, and he'll charge past Hansen, almost putting Hansen up that tree. He doesn't care. High onto the banking, and Hansen, who's slipping back, has been deposed by Rob Herring. And I suppose Rob Herring will be sorry. This isn't an hour and 2 minutes, this race.
Hair 'em, scare 'em, devil may care 'em. That's Rob Herring charging through the field. getting himself right up on the leaderboard after that terrible start.
And Greg Hansen now down in 6th place. Rob Herring is 5th. So Hansen, who was 3rd at one stage, slipping back. The order then is Watley. Behind Watley is Kurt Nickel, then Mervyn Anstey, then Dave Watson, and then behind Dave Watson is Rob Herring. Well, Herring has got 2 laps left. He might take 3rd place. He might not. There's the leader.
Jem Watley, once a winner, looks like a winner again today.
So the leader goes through, and this is the gap between the 1st and the 2nd man. The next man through should be the 3rd place man. That will be Mervyn Anstey, number 3. We wait to catch a glimpse of him. Here is Mervyn Anstey. He's had a good meeting. He'll be pleased. He's got a bucket full of points. Behind him is Dave Watson, number 7. Now, here he comes. Here comes Herring. He can see him. Rob Herring flying through the air. If somebody jumps 5 feet, this man jumps 10. Rob Herring, he can see Dave Watson ahead of him. He's got a lap and a little bit to go. Can he catch Dave Watson? Can he catch Mervyn Anstey? That's the question we ask, and I honestly look, there's, you see Watson, there, number 7 to the right of your screen, just going out of your picture. Here is Rob Herring. Back with the leader, Jem Watley, starting his last lap. 1 lap to go for Jem Watley, for what will be a 13th and 2 wins. Here is Kurt Nickel, who's had a mixed day too, but that mixed day will add up to mean that he'll lead the British Championship by 1 point over the injured Dave Thorpe. Nickel, there is Mervyn Anstey, who is 3rd. Next one through will be Dave Watson, who is 4th. And there is Rob Herring. And very soon we shall see the gap between him and Dave Watson. And there it is. It's just the length of that hill. And the head of it, you just saw Anstey at the top of the hill. Anstey goes over the brow. Watson follows him, and Herring is in pursuit. Well, if anyone can pull them back, it is this man. He's super fit, super fast, and super unstoppable. And this is the man for whom this race is sweet satisfaction. 6th in the 2nd leg, and Kurt Nickel looks as though he's going to grab 17 points for 2nd place, and that will give him the championship lead. And the injured Dave Thorpe, who is sitting in his motorhome watching the action, can do absolutely nothing about it. Watley, the race leader, he will leave here with 2 wins and the 13th place in the 1st leg. And that 13th place in the 1st leg really should have been the whole story for Jem Watley. He didn't want to be here, he wasn't happy. There is Rob Herring. The charge is still on, half a lap to go for Herring. Where are those 2 men ahead of him? Can't see them yet, but they're not that far in front.
And underlining Jeremy Watley's return to form, if he continues to the checkered flag, he'll get 43 points this afternoon. In 3 earlier race meetings, he had only totaled 35. Jem Watley is really back in form again.
So Jem Watley heading for the checkered flag. Oh, he gets it all sideways on. I don't think that was bravado. I think he's perhaps just getting a little bit tired. Down the deck, leaps through the air, and Jem Watley is the winner. Now, will it be Kurt Nickel in 2nd place? Of course it'll be Kurt Nickel in 2nd place. And that will mean he'll take the championship lead. There goes Nickel, the new leader of the British Motocross Championship. This Northamptonshire-born lad is.
It was certainly a great championship for Rob Herring. Rob, just check us up on your ancestry, the Northampton bit, will you?
Okay, I was born in Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire. When I was 7 years old, we moved to South Africa, and then we stayed there for 10 years, and I moved back to Northampton in beginning of last year.
Good, so we can count you as one of ours.
Definitely.
What about you? So, Kurt Nickel, the new leader of the British Championship, how do you feel about it?
Very pleased, obviously. It's the first time I've ever been in the front of the British Championship. Obviously, I'm disappointed what had to happen to David. That's obviously going to spoil his World Championship as well.
So, at the end of the day, this was the overall picture. A growing pack pursuing the leading 2, but the most critical thing was who was at the top, and it was Kurt Nickel of Newport, Essex, holding on to that 1-point lead, and the next stop